on August 4, 2025, east of Taiwan, a routine patrol by a U.S. Navy F/A-18 Super Hornet turned into a chilling standoff. A Chinese Shenyang J-16 fighter jet suddenly locked its fire control radar onto the American jet. Inside the cockpit, alarms blared, radar lock, radar lock. For the pilot, each second felt like an eternity. A single missile launch could have shattered the fragile balance between two superpowers and plunged the Pacific into war. The weapon in question was the PL-15, one of China's most advanced air-to-air missiles, with a range exceeding 200 kilometers and blistering speeds of over Mach 4. It could close the distance in less than half a minute. For the American pilot, survival would depend on instant reflexes, years of training, and the support of his carrier strike group. The J-16 itself is a symbol of China's growing military power. Derived from the Russian Su-27 and Su-30 family, it is a heavy multi-role strike fighter enhanced with Chinese technology. Its powerful ESA radar gives it the ability to track multiple targets at long ranges, while electronic warfare pods and helmet-mounted sights provide an edge in combat. With twin engines delivering high thrust, it can carry long-range missiles, precision bombs, and anti-ship weapons. Today, the J-16 has become one of the most important workhorses of the People's Liberation Army Air Force, with hundreds in active service. In that moment of crisis, the U.S. pilot responded exactly as trained. He released glowing flares to lure away potential missiles and activated electronic jammers, disrupting the J-16's targeting system. Just seconds later, another F/A-18 launched from the USS Ronald Reagan, taking a flanking position to shadow the Chinese jet. The silent message was unmistakable: "If you fire, we will fire back." Outnumbered and exposed, the J-16 disengaged, and the skies grew quiet again. But the significance of this event reaches far beyond one pilot's survival. The South China Sea and the waters east of Taiwan form the beating heart of the global economy. Every year, over 100,000 merchant ships pass through this region, carrying more than $3 trillion worth of goods, oil, gas, food, electronics, raw materials. If war ever broke out, the shockwaves would be global. Oil prices could spike overnight, supply chains could collapse, and nations from Vietnam to Singapore would face economic disaster. The United States insists that its patrols are about protecting freedom of navigation and ensuring sea lanes remain open for all nations. China, however, views these operations as hostile provocations in what it considers sovereign waters. This clash of perspectives has created a dangerous cycle of challenge and response, where every encounter carries the risk of escalation. This is not the first time such a near miss has happened. Back in 2018, the USS Decatur came within meters of colliding with a Chinese warship during a freedom of navigation operation. That incident was described as a hair's breadth from disaster. But the August 4th radar lock was even more dangerous because it placed weapons directly in play. Imagine if the Chinese pilot had pulled the trigger. A PL-15 missile streaking toward the American jet at hypersonic speed would have given the pilot less than 70 seconds to survive. He would have rolled his aircraft in desperate evasive maneuvers, launched decoys, and relied on jammers to scramble the missile's guidance system. But the battle would not have been his alone. Carrier radars would track every move. Submarines lurking beneath the waves would prepare counterstrikes. A dogfight in the sky could quickly have escalated into a multi-domain clash involving ships, aircraft, and missiles across the region. The domino effects would have been immediate. Global markets would nosedive, Ports in Singapore and Malaysia might shut down under the threat of missile strikes. U.S. allies like Japan and the Philippines would be forced to take sides, while adversaries such as Russia might seize the chaos to pressure Europe or the Arctic. One missile could have changed the course of history. Thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. No shots were fired that day. Instead, emergency back-channel communications between Washington and Beijing opened within minutes. Commanders on both sides moved swiftly to calm the situation, preventing the spark from igniting a wildfire. But the lesson was clear. The margin for error in the South China Sea has become razor thin. For the pilots flying these missions, the stakes could not be higher. A radar lock is like having a gun pointed at your head. Even if no trigger is pulled, the pressure is immense, the risk undeniable. For commanders at sea, each incident forces a choice, whether to push back hard and risk escalation, or to restrain and risk appearing weak. For political leaders, the dilemma is even sharper. How to protect national interests without plunging the world into conflict. The skies over Taiwan that August day became more than just a patrol route. They became a symbol of the delicate balance that defines our world today. A balance where every radar sweep, every locked target, every scrambled jet could mean the difference between peace and catastrophe. And so, the question remains, if you were in that cockpit, hearing the alarm scream, radar lock, what would you do in those 20 heart-pounding seconds? And if you were the commander of the USS Ronald Reagan, would you prepare to retaliate or hold back to preserve peace? The August 4th encounter ended without bloodshed, but the next time, fortune may not favor restraint.